All right, glad to have you back. Yes, we're definitely be diving into this first topic of the day. President Bola Tinubu is currently under pressure over his chief of staff, Femi Gbajabiamila's alleged involvement in corruption. Sources reported on Monday that Gbajabiamila was fingered as one of the beneficiaries of the largesse of corruption undercovered under Ahmed Kuru, the Chief Executive Officer of the Asset Management Corporation, of Nigeria, AMCON, and the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. The special investigator Jim Obaze's report exposed how Gbajabiamila benefited from Ahmed Kuru's largesse of Ikoyi properties from his days as the Speaker of the House of Representatives, according to top sources in the presidency. One of the sources revealed that Gbajabiamila is, in return, had ensured Kuru remained as AMCON's chief executive after about 9 years. Already, fresh information has emerged about how Godwin Emefiele and Ahmed Kuru, the AMCON CEO, conspired in gross abuse of office to acquire banks of choice using public funds to fraudulently take over Polaris, Keystone, and Union banks. Recall that the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, dissolved the board and management of Titan Trust Bank, Union Bank, Polaris Bank, and Keystone Bank following a report submitted to President Bola Tinubu by the special investigator on the Central Bank of Nigeria and related entities. That's according to the Jim Obaze's investigative report. Well, joining us virtually is Dr. Hassan Sadiq, who is a security strategist, a strategic expert, and he definitely is on with us this morning. And of course, live in the studio with us again, in-house here, is Mr. Ekudayo Lawal, an educationist and a public affairs analyst. Now, I'm going to just quickly come to you, Dr. Hassan. What do you make of this report? And what do you think the president's position would be after now?
Thank you and good morning for having me and the viewers.
Morning.
Yes, it is a good thing that the nations today were going through a lot of reform from different angles and all that. If the chief of staff to the president, who is the former speaker of Federal Republic during the 9th Assembly, is now fingers in the corruptions, it has to go. One, I said so on the backdrop that other element of such things who has happened before, which are still investigating, like a better edu, the minister, which is a part of this current administrations, is under suspicions. So the same way, I also expected that Mr. President should do the same thing. So you could see that if he do that, he has proved to the nation that, look, there's no secret cow in his administrations, and that Nigeria is ready to change from worst to better. Because our major problem today, which I keep on saying, it is the drivers of our economy and all that, who are the leaders, are the problems, because they are so endemic in corruptions. So if you do that now, because yes, it is fine, then from there, Nigeria will know that the president is ready and is ready to work, and whoever is highly involved in such things, there's no hiding place. Then Nigeria will now believe that, oh, we are ready for a better nations. So it is a good thing that this also waiting again to see if a civil servant, highly from PAMSEC director, also involved. We will know a lot that most Nigerians don't know on how they involve in humongous corruptions that become endemic today in our nations, that create poverty instead of prosperity. So I supported Mr. President. We are waiting to see what is going to do in this regard. Nigerians are waiting.
Okay, now I'm going to come to you, Mr. Lawal. Thank you so very much, Mr. Hassan, for your position there. Now, my question now would be, following this allegation, how do you think the impact of this allegation would affect the political landscape of the nation and the reputation of the ruling party? Because let's not forget that this is more like one of the powerhouses of government involved in this allegation. How do you think this is going to affect, the ruling party and, of course, the political landscape of Nigeria as a whole?
This thing is in two-headed form. It's a two-headed dragon. You get what I'm saying? You have the positive side, we have the negative. It now depends on which side the president wants to go. The positive side, that is, whether he wants to now follow the due process and make sure that the Gbajabiamila, you get, is treated like any other person, such as Emefiele and Edu and the other lady. You get it? If he wants to follow that process, then let the Gbajabiamila face it, just like the others.
Well, these are just allegations. These are just allegations. They haven't been proven yet. I mean, we're talking about the report from the Jimo Baze, the findings from the Jimo Baze report. And Gbajabiamila has been fingered. But we haven't been, we don't have the facts of the matter that, yes, he's culpable. Yes, he had a hand in it. Now, you do recall that the president at some point, when his chief of staff, Gbajabiamila, was accused of collecting money for appointments, he did say that he has absolute trust in the judgment of his chief of staff. And coupled with the fact that, we're having these allegations now, I don't know, do you think the president will do anything really to a man that he has absolute confidence in?
Allegation. What's the meaning of allegation? That they have some facts about you. Is that not the meaning? So if there's somebody is coming with some fact, what you have to do is to allow proper investigation to take place within that area. And then you now come out to the public that no, it's clean, no, it's not clean. That's what I'm saying, that it's two-headed. If you want to follow the due process, follow the due process. Let that thing be properly investigated.
Okay.
Don't obstruct the investigation, because somebody has come out for this man, the investigator, to come out openly with this, with his name not hidden, shows that he has his facts.
The investigator didn't come out; it was leaked. The information was leaked.
His name has already come out.
Jimo Baze.
Yes, the name is already out. You know, when there's a word they call the defamation of character. The moment it comes out, and it's not true, the person can sue you for defamation of character. Is that not true? Because now it has come out. Everybody now knows it. It's open. So, and the name is already there. Now, everybody is talking about it. Even internationally, they will raise an eyebrow. Now, the president, for him to clear his own name, he has to allow that area to be properly investigated so that he can clear his name. Because the moment he clears the name of Gbajabiamila, because then you have trust in him, then you must be able to bring it in the open that no, this man is truly clean. And the other side of it is that, why I said it has two-headed dragon. The other side of it is that if you want to go political, then you may suppress it. But Nigerians are watching. Nationally, internationally, communities are also watching. They want to see whether the president will allow proper investigation to be done into that area and final findings, I use the word final findings, made public so that he can clear his name. You get it? So that he can clear his name. Or it will make it political and suppress it.
All right. Dr. Hassan, I believe you're still with us. Now, like, we know of you, a security expert who is high on, security as it were. How does this revelation affect the public's perception of political figures and their longevity in office?
Okay, thank you very much. That's what we call security implications. Meaning, when you allow certain things to happen and you don't nip it on the bud immediately, the implication is that so many things will start manifest. What do I mean by that? A few months ago, there was allegations in the social media that the chief of staff to the president is entangled with money for appointment. Why Mr. President come out and say no, he trusts the man.
Yeah.
Now we're also coming again, the committee set up by the current administrations, which even the chief of staff is appendix to that committee, because the committee name has been named. They were written the numbers of people who comprises the committee and now approved before they start working in terms of investigating CBN and all that. It is that same committee that your government set up now indicted your chief of staff, which is key. Now there's no smoke without fire. What they said in that allegations, that he have benefit of a house in Ikoyi, making sure that the man in question, who is the head of AMCON, stayed there more than 9 years.
9 years.
Now, if you look at all this, it has given you a deep indications. Even if the man, it is not at the end of the day, not yet proven, he need to step aside. That will help the government to earn respect locally and internationally. Organizations, people will now believe that the government in place, it is a government of no secret cow when you crosses the red line. Now, when you don't allow these things to step aside, you now come out and cover it. Then more people will be involved in humongous corruptions, because they've seen that the man who did before, nothing happened. So the point is that what we call security implications, if it is only one person who has been indicted, which means 20 people to 30 people will try to be involved because they know nothing will happen. That is why we always said in securities that when there's an issue, you have to tackle it immediately. Because if you don't tackle it, the implication is that you have good room for many people to involve in such things. Our security challenges today, some is not because Boko Haram also creates certain things, just like IPOP. There are things today happen in the Southeast and not directly IPOP member, but because the government did not fight it immediately, then there are security implications. You now have the enemy of state who hide under it and create mayhem to discredit the government. So for you to be able to make a progress in any administrations, the security implications, you must look at it and making sure when such things happen immediately.
All right.
I will urge Mr. President never to go back, no matter who the person is. He needs to step aside.
All right, let me stay with you on this one now, Dr. Sadiq. This is a situation whereby Femi Gbajabiamila, I mean, he's not new to such allegations. He's not new to such accusations. Remember in 2019, he was accused, the case of him withholding a client's money when he was practicing law in the US came up to the tune of $25,000. That came up. Now, there have been other allegations of involvement in corrupt practices, tainting his name over time. But then we still remember that regardless of those allegations, he emerged the 14th speaker, I beg your pardon, in the Lagos State House of Assembly. He also has emerged chief of staff to the president. How much credence does this place on the table of this administration as an administration that wants to fight corruption? Don't forget that even the president himself had something dangling around his head during right after the elections, cases of fraudulent activities, all right, certificate forgery, and the rest of them purportedly dangling, purported certificate forgery dangling around his head. Should Nigerians truly take this administration seriously as an administration that will fight corruption?
Yes. All those allegations now is leading to what we can look at as things that you cannot hide it again if it is true. Now, the only way this can be showing that even Mr. President himself has no cockroach in his cupboard, despite all the allegations from the time of campaign and everything down to the elections. It is by now saying that, look, you are my chief of staff, who have been together for a long time. But on the basis of this, you need to step aside. That will now clear that other forms of allegation before are not true, especially Mr. President himself.
All right then.
That is why I said you cannot allow such things to continue. There will be security implications, because when you don't take such actions immediately, then people and the country will not believe that, oh, what people have been saying before, it is true.
All right then.
But by taking such action now, the administration will now have more credit. People will now believe in it. Those who have intention to do such things will now desist. That is why I've said, don't allow security implications on this matter.
Don't allow security implications on it. There's also the saying that birds of a feather
flock together.
Well, you finished it. I didn't finish it.
I have something in mind since I went.
Go ahead.
Guys, which I've said earlier on here, when the Beta Edu issue was hot, I said it that we should not make too much noise about the Beta Edu. It's already facing its music. There are so many others. Even the cabinet of the president, many of them that came from the past administration have questionable characters. A lot of them. Even the aviation minister was asked, was requested to appear to the House committee to face some allegations. He refused to go. Undermining democracy, undermining the rule of law, because the law permits the House of Assembly to summon anybody for investigation. He undermined the law. He refused to come to face the panel, the committee. He undermined democracy by refusing to listen to the representatives of the people. And yet he's in the new cabinet, is a minister in this new government. How was it cleared in the first place? You get? It took a while.
You know, I was actually getting to that because I have a question to ask you on that particular one.
So many, like Gbajabiamila, before this one came, before he became before he got this post, there were allegations against him, even when he was speaker, before he even became speaker. And the same person is the chief of staff. Now, more allegations now that is chief of the first one that came, the president said, I have confidence. Another one came along.
So are you trying to buttress my point earlier that, they're saying that birds of a feather?
Well, I would still agree with you.
You know,
don't agree with me. I mean, I'm only citing a saying that birds of a feather. Yes. Are you saying that's what's playing out? I'm not asking you to agree with me because I'm not saying that. but are you saying that?
But Mr. Laurent, now, what we have to look at is this now. You know, you've made mention of some cases where even the present aviation minister and the aide now that the president have actually is facing some corruption charges and all that. What is your stand on disappointment of ministers and aides in running the election of Nigeria? Do you think the process of appointing people to say, come, I want you to be there actually is what we need now?
You mean the process of appointment?
Yes, this is your picking people to say.
It's one of the problems. It's one of the problems. The way the National Assembly clears these people since 1999 have been something bothering me. They will just come speak like they are acting drama in the House of Assembly, and then they just take and then they go and they clear them. Even when the House insists that no, we don't want this person, the president will insist, and eventually you agree. There's no separation of power, for God's sake. Somebody is ruling every other person. If
let's be fair. There were people that went for ministerial clearing, but were not cleared in this current administration.
Such as who?
From
Governor of Kaduna State.
No. He decided not to go. You know, he made the choice not to go.
He was not cleared.
It was not clear.
It was not cleared.
The two of them, himself and the
Rufai.
I'm talking about Rufai and the one we talk about now, the Minister of Aviation. Two of them refused to appear before the House, the last administration. You get now the House was now taking that, and now you are coming to us, we will not listen to you. You get that was what was playing out. Then at the point, Rufai decided not to bother about it again.
Well, I don't think we're talking about the same thing here.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay. I want to ask Mr. Hassan Sadiq this quick one. I hope you're still with us, Mr. Hassan.
Yes, go
ahead. Yeah,
okay, fine. Now the thing is this: as a security expert, what do you think the government, or what do you think we Nigerians need to do? Because this is our country. What do you think we need to do to make sure we curb this cadence of, our money entering into the wrong hand, or people that we entrust the country into taking us to a different angle or dimension through
taking us to a place.
Yeah, taking
that we don't know.
Exactly. Taking us to, please, as a security
expert. They carry us there, we don't know. All right then. Dr. Hassan.
Yes, I've said it 3 years back that the issue of insecurity in terms of defense security, that will take a different dimensions where they are going to be VIP hostage. And that is what we are seeing currently. Now, if you are now talking about where the people are taking us to, the leaders who are the helm of affair, Nigeria is a growing nation. In time where you have a growing nation, you have all this, which to me, you are in a better track. Because assuming all this is not being open, people will not know. But what will now help us is the actions of Mr. President that will now determine a new paradigm shift.
Dr. Hassan, Dr. Hassan,
yes.
Some Nigerians will disagree with you when you say Nigeria is a growing nation. Nigeria is 60, over 60. A nation that is over 60, would you really call that a growing nation? Let's not compare Nigeria to America, who is over 200. But then, Nigeria is riding on certain laid down things. So, I mean, some people will say that the constitution itself is a problem. The coming together of the nation, Nigeria, is also a problem. Would you say that having a referendum or having a, what's the word now? There's a word I'm trying to get now. I mean, we've talked about it over and over again. Having that would be what will settle all this problem, and each part of Nigeria will have a fair share of the national cake, as the case may be.
Okay, why I said Nigeria is still a growing nation. In our own, as a security expert, I've said it before, Nigeria in a hurry, Africa in a go slow. What does that mean? If Africa in a go slow, it's going to be difficult for Nigeria to pull out, no matter the speed they want to take.
Can you take that again?
Now, we're also,
Nigeria in a hurry.
Yes, I'm just coming to that because we need to understand it clearly.
Okay.
You can never achieve success overnight. I also agree that because Nigeria is 60 years, we have not made enough progress as expected. I agree. It is because one of our major problems is the character of the people. That is why we always said certain things on good governance, it is not rocket science, but it's a science of character. When you now embark after military, we now take over from democracy.
Oh boy.
Oh, we have a glitch in the network.
I think we have a glitch there. But we're just going to continue with you, Mr. Lawal. Yesterday, the Senate whip, I was going to ask Dr. Hassan about that because he's a security person, but then I'll still push it to you. The Senate whip, I'm talking about Alim Dume, said some security agencies employ some personnel of theirs and pay them less than 50,000 naira. If that becomes a norm, because we're talking about people who are supposed to secure lives and properties, if they go that less, and given the alleged involvement of high-profile figures like Godwin Emefiele and presently the chief of staff to the president, what then do you make of this? when we now say there is an abuse of power, how do you think the government should tackle this? And of course, the financial institutions now. How do you think the government should tackle this thing headline on?
You mean the evolution of the security?
Yes, the security.
It is good for us to look at our constitution, look at it where the constitution has lacuna, so that we can be able to fix it, having constitutional conference and all that. I have already proposed a national security policy, a brand new, that will take us out of this and all that. But the major problem that we have not been able to identify so far, it is the character of the people who are the leading. If you bring Obama into Nigeria today, he will not make any progress because of the kind of people we are having. Now, I've said it before, what stopped the commander-in-chief to stop any officer? Why do you call him commander-in-chief? He's in charge of all. You have the right to call the junior officer and say, what is your allowance? What is your salary? Nobody can say, why did you do that? Because he's the commander-in-chief. Now, it is a character of the president to do that. It is not about constitutions, because he knew well for his all uniform officers. So when you now have people of that character and start doing that, implementing it, these are not constitutional matter, it's about character matters. You can now start seeing the changes, the type of country we want to own. That is where it starts from. Okay. That is why I said we are still a growing nations. And people with that character are there. I'm saying it just for the people to have a hope that Nigeria, it is not the way we think, it is dead. No. We still have a very bright future.
All right.
The day such character will emerge, a lot of people will start seeing changes. In the past administration who just left, if a minister is being indicted, there's no suspension. He will be there till the administrations. Buhari has never called any minister, let me know what is going on. But today you can see there's also a paradigm shift from that aspect. That should give you the hope that Nigeria is heading for a better.
All right, Doctor.
We are getting to the end point of our worst, where we now change.
Okay.
But also have it in mind, you cannot achieve success overnight. It takes time.
Okay. All right, Dr. Hassan. So we need to find out from you. You said something earlier, Nigeria in a hurry, Africa in a go-slow. Yesterday,
yes,
Aline Dume, the Senate whip, said something about the remuneration of some security agencies. Some security agencies employ some staffs and pay them less than 50,000 naira. Now, following this whole involvement of the alleged corruption amongst the high-profile politicians, what do you think the government should do right at this point? And of course, the regulatory bodies, how do they need to manage this whole situation? And of course, give us a final thought as well on this topic.
Yes, thank you. It's a good allegation that Idume has made, but I could have wanted him to come out specifically with of the agency. We have Air Force, we have Navy, we have Army, we have Civil Defense, we have also the immigrations, they are all there. Which particular of that agency? Because when you keep quiet and you are making an allegation, you do not nip it on the board. As a legislator, he has to even invite that agency, the head of that agency, for scrutiny to know. It is good for him to have made that allegations. But also for us to get it clearly, he has to come out and say this particular. We see when Oshomole was asking the correctional services that you are feeding dog more than the prisoners.
Yeah.
Openly. Thank you. So you can see that he has made, as a legislator, he has put it to them that are you saying dogs are more better than the human being who are in the prison? This is a very clear allegations that he has made. Now you could see that their next budget presentation, they will make sure what they are voting for prisoners per feeding, it is higher than the dog. So Idume should come out and tell us which of the agency, because sometimes we also realize that simply because you have no interest in a particular place, you also find a way to discredit them. That's why I said what we are looking for today, it is the character of the drivers.
All right then.
Our constitution needs to be reviewed. But no matter who you have at the top, it is the character you exhibited. That is why I call it the character of science.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Yes.
All right. Thank you so very much, Dr. Hassan. We need to dive into the next topic, of course, of our morning show. So, Fina, you want to help us?
Up next on VOP this morning, the Supreme Court of Nigeria finally releases CTC of the Zimba judgment on Nnamdi Kanu. We'll tell you more about this when we return after this break.